everyone, welcome back to IT Investigators. So I'm photographer and I'll be sharing about the miracle in the German financial market, Wirecard. Of course, sarcastically, because it's basically nothing more than a scam. So to better investigate the fraud, we need to talk about the history of the company. So Wirecard back then wasn't known as Wirecard. It was known as Infogenie, founded in 1999 in Berlin. So it was actually focused towards providing services on the internet, and due to the bubble, it expanded quite quickly and managed to list itself on the Euro market in Germany in 2000. So of course, as we all know, the dot-com bubble actually bursted in 2000 to 2002, and of course, Infogenie struck quite badly, and it was almost bankrupt to below Euro 1 in less than 2 years, and at the brim of bankruptcy. So after all this happens, Infogenie, well, I would think that I will close the company, but the management team back then decides, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to risk even more, and hired Markus Braun from Austria. So Braun, quite a fresh PhD earner then, got his PhD in social and economic science from University of Vienna in 2000. But of course, he started his career back in 1998 and worked with KPMG Consulting in Munich before working in Infogenie. So after Markus joined the company, he actually has quite some huge goals. And one of the first major changes he made was to make English the main official language of the company, which is rather useless and, imbecile.
It's a German company.
It's just, it doesn't make sense because half the company doesn't speak English, doesn't understand English. Yeah, but he did it regardless. And in 2005, one of the first, good change was the merging of Infogenie subsidiaries and acquisition of other tech firms that he views that has potential. Well, at this point in time, Markus Braun actually did quite a great job because he changed the company's profit source from just the telecom service like customer service through phone to online service like online payment services. So how does it work? So for example, if editor want to visit like a dark website and he wants to pay, so he'll just give Wirecard a call and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to this adult website. Can you please pay? And when they pay, he can access the premium content on it. Yeah, of course, other than adult website, the gambling ones also. Like if you go to them, I don't know if it does. If you do, I think you do, but
why would I?
So when you go to gambling website, you just give them a call and they'll just pay for your stuff. So although not the most, bright way to make profits, but it made the company survive the toughest time. So quite a great change. And yeah, Markus Braun did a good job with that. And 2006, to list Wirecard on the market again, he purchased not operating telephone service provider company and listed Wirecard on Frankfurt. So now let me talk a bit about Wirecard itself. So as we all know, after making the company survive the whole crisis, Markus Braun, of course, not satisfied with what he achieved. So instead of keep growing his online payment service, he decided to be a bit more ambitious and bought XCOM, which is an online banking service provider, and they merged and launched Wirecard Bank in 2006. So after that, Markus Braun actually quite intelligently decided to provide new forms of online financial services, which wasn't really quite available then. And soon enough, they obtained MasterCard and Visa verification. So this actually officially opens the door towards banking or payment service, because with MasterCard and Visa verification, you can basically receive payment, of course, in basically most of the countries around the world. So this Markus, of course, started implementing online financial services. So he implemented this e-wallet. So basically, if I want to buy so-called this thing, so I'll just scan it. I'll just go to the store and just scan it and pay for it, of course. And one of the interesting thing about this was how they revolutionized, I would say, the process of payment. So in 2017-2018, they implemented this thing called you scan and pay. So you scan the object you want to buy and you pay through your phone, so you don't have to queue at the counter and you can just immediately exit the store. Not the most secure way, I would say, because I just say I scan and I just walk out, right? So doesn't really matter because the company is bankrupt now. And the next one will be e-lending. So instead of just go to your bank outlet somewhere and just queue hours just to get like $1,000 loan, you can just apply online and you can basically get like almost immediate approval and you can get your amount that can spend immediately as well. And of course, if you are going to use or propagate or grow your service, you're going to provide, target consumers and businesses as well. So Wirecard targeted business owners by providing services such as risk management, sales analysis, that of course provide quite huge convenience because these people don't have to use Excel spreadsheet anymore, and actually attracted quite a significant number of business owners. So some major names that joined will be like IKEA and KLM, Royal Dutch Airlines. So at that point in time, in Germany, Wirecard was quite a well-known firm, very well-known and successful as well. So this Braun, still not satisfied with what he has, decides to go international. So basically Braun decides to franchise Wirecard. So they basically sold their right to operate under the name of Wirecard to service providers in like Singapore, Philippines, Malaysia, US, China even. So it saves them a lot of effort and they profit through taking commissions from all of these companies. So an example would be they set their headquarters in Asia in Singapore, and it was quite huge in Singapore. But I feel like I didn't really see any hawker stores.
I don't remember anything with Wirecard.
Yeah, I don't too. I don't see any hawker stores that actually accept Wirecard. But where it was quite big, maybe it's just because I'm living on a rock. So all these successful business decisions actually led to the rapid growth of this company, and of course the value of the shares. So from an almost bankrupt company in 2002, Wirecard share was a whopping 192 euro per share at 2018, their peak. And the company was valued at around 24 to 28 billion euros. Whopping. And of course, Markus Braun, with 7% of the company's share, have like a net worth of around 1.6 billion as well.
Billion.
A billion, yeah, of course, billion euros. So at that point in time, Wirecard was Germany's top 30 most valuable companies. And it was even included in the DAX index. So for those who don't know, basically the German company invests pension funds into the DAX index. So basically they will get the profits and give it out as pensions to people. So basically you can tell, quite a credible and huge company in Germany at the time. And with his high value, largest fintech in Europe. So actually, Wirecard expanded very quickly throughout, the whole process, the whole decade. And of course, with any of this kind of miracle, there's going to be questions. And especially when a company that thrives regardless of the economic condition. Like we can be a recession and Wirecard will perfect balance sheet and they'll be thriving for some reason. And of course, that grew some suspicion. So all this started in 2008, where financial auditors from Ernst & Young was hired to actually check out this company. But they did quite a good job in disclosing some information about Wirecard, like showing the public how this company is sus. But instead of getting a raise by EY, they actually got charged by the Germans for so-called undisclosed stock positions. And this actually gave Wirecard quite an inspiration to develop this excuse or this thing that they use to attack media for the next decade. So every time when the media reports bad things about Wirecard, Markus Braun will just immediately hold a huge press conference and tell people, no, these are not true. These are just attempts to maneuver or adjust the stock market.
So it's like propaganda in a sense.
Yeah, like propaganda, yes. So one of the reasons why they actually survived so many decades with scamming is this. So in 2015, this was the start of the war between Financial Times and Wirecard. So in 2015, Financial Times actually realized that there's a 250 million euro gap in the balance sheet presented by Wirecard. So when they questioned, Markus Braun, of course the standard crap, attempts to maneuver or adjust the stock market. And Financial Times, for some reason, decides to invest, resources to this as well and investigate Wirecard. I don't know, but maybe they just think that it's interesting. And in 2016, Financial Times, have already more findings and, decides to report the possibility of money laundering that Wirecard is doing. So of course, Wirecard just, dismiss all this as not true. So in 2018, this was where all the things start to accumulate and blow up. So just now how we talked about the when they franchise to other countries, they take commission from the sales. So what happened is they have this huge 1.9 billion profits that they accumulated through the years. But the question is, I don't see them flowing to the Wirecard bank. So where do they go to? So based on Markus Braun, he said, we have an account in Philippines. So and we so-called store the 1.9 billion account euro in those account in Philippines. So of course, our dear Financial Times, trying to find trouble for Wirecard, went to Philippines and investigated further. So the first thing when they landed in Philippines was they visited the registered address for Wirecard in Philippines. So to everyone's surprise, it was actually the house of a retired fisherman. The whole economy in Germany was shocked at what's going on. And to make this worse, our dear Financial Times consulted the two Filipino banks that Wirecard so-called store their money in, just to realize that the banks have zero relations with Wirecard. So here's the question: where does the 1.9 million go? So what happened was Financial Times immediately published their findings. So obviously, as you expect, the stock market hard hit. Like Wirecard share was dropping like crazy. But SoftBank from Japan, for some good reason, decides to invest another 900 million euro into this company. And 900 million euro, huge amount, actually decides that, all right, I'm going to spend it in this fishy company. And while this investment actually, boosts the confidence of investors about Wirecard and actually save their shares. Which is one of the reasons why they actually survived till 2019. And also, to respond to all this, they actually hired an auditor, asked for audit service by KPMG, which they think will clear out all the suspicion in the air when the results are out. But by 2019, when the report was supposed to be out, like so long ago, it's still not out yet. And in 2020, when the report is finally out, no auditors in KPMG are willing to sign on the report, simply because they face too much obstacles when they are looking to verify where the funds go. And that's basically how the whole fishy thing got busted. So, Financial Times actually did more than just reporting the 1.9 billion. So another huge thing that Financial Times did was they reported suspicious business going on in the Wirecard office in Singapore. It's also their fault for making it so obvious. So basically, the Wirecard office in Singapore actually did this. So they transfer money to Indonesia and transfer it back. So this basically boost their sales, or faking their sales, basically, like transactions. So of course, Financial Times with their own information found that out and reported it on their platform. Say, there may be money laundering things going on with Wirecard Singapore. And the so-called kiasu, afraid to lose Singapore government, immediately raided this outpost or office in Singapore. And that's also like a huge damage to the business confidence, right? Like if I invest in a company and one day then the government just attacks the office, I'll be like, crap, what did I invest in? That's like kind of what's going on with the company. And after all this, in 2020, the German officials also actually raided the headquarters in Munich and also caused quite havoc. Yeah, and this financial miracle actually is a miracle in both senses. Right? It grew so quickly, but it also fell so quickly. So from a whopping 192 euros per share, it fell quickly in almost 6 months, a few weeks, to like less than 2 euros. Like, whoa, I will be quite shocked to see.
Not stonks.
So after that, after all this is busted, Markus Braun was fired from the company as the CEO, but of course soon arrested, and among all the other decision-making things, the headquarters, board of directors also arrested. But Jan Mark Salik, the COO, Chief Operating Officers, using his wife's relations with Philippines, actually managed to escape the Philippines and into China, and now is not found anywhere. So now let's just give this whole thing a more in-depth analysis of how it had managed to survive for so many years. So one of the reasons that I may think of is the inefficient auditing process. So throughout so many years with all this questioning going on, Wirecard actually hired multiple auditing companies like EY to audit their company. So there was this one case when, the 1.9 billion profit is always there, but it was only reported by FT like after a while. But the hole is actually there since a long time ago. And when the auditors actually start to check, so one, because it's overseas and in Germany, it's actually very inconvenient for them to actually verify whether is the money actually there. And if you look at the amount of money that Wirecard processed, around 1,250 billion euros per year at the time, 1.9 billion is actually such a small portion. So they actually did not see the thing, like see the value there, and they just approved it. So actually what happens is there are many bad audits being conducted, and that actually boosted, gave this fake confidence to the entire the investors, and that's why it's not busted. Another reason would be the German officials. So when I hear someone question about a company, the first thing is I will check the company, right?
Yeah, of course.
But the German officials, I don't know, with their logic, they check the media. They're like, why are you UK media, like Financial Times, trying to talk about our German company? What are you trying to do with your life? So they start questioning the media and not the company itself. Like, what? And also, even in 2018, when all this are getting, thrown into the media and everyone knows that there is something wrong with Wirecard, the government official, instead of checking, decide to ban the short selling of Wirecard shares.
Oh my god! Wow!
So basically ban on short selling, that means prevent the sale of too much share in the market. So the supply of this wouldn't suddenly go up too high, the demand won't suddenly go up too low. So the value of share will remain. So this is to prevent the Wirecard share from falling below 100 euros. And the reasoning was, if this share fell below 100 euros, it will damage the confidence in the economy. So in simple terms, Wirecard is too huge to fall. So Germany just can't see this fall. How much money from pension funds they invested into it? So what are the elderly going to eat on if this company falls? And another one would be Braun. So Braun actually, from what we hear in 2005, was actually quite intelligent and successful businessman. So the fact that he can convert Infogenie from bankrupt to doing well shows a lot. But the problem is, he got so obsessed with his wealth and power that he got too greedy and even psychopathic. So if you look at Braun, in his peak, he has his own floor of the office building to himself and is only accessible by senior management. And when the share price fell by just a bit, he will drop a nuclear bomb on the staff. So that's all for Wirecard sharing today. And remember just now at first when we talked about the first big change that this Braun implemented in Wirecard? He wanted to change the official language from German to English in the company. Right? But after 2 decades, if you look at their website, it's still in German.
Wow.
Wow. So that's it for today's sharing, and we hope to see you next time.
Yes.
Bye-bye.